Today, we're going to talk about the life and legacy of a truly remarkable figure in the world of chess, Daniel Naroditsky. It's an incredible story, one filled with so much talent and influence, and a loss that has just been felt all across the globe.
You know, some moments are just so profound, they're hard to put into words. They capture this feeling of stillness, where everything just seems to stop. And it's usually in that silence that we really feel the weight of what's been lost.
The chess world is in mourning. Grandmaster Daniel Naroditsky, a brilliant talent, is gone far, far too soon at the age of 29. The announcement from the Charlotte Chess Center on October 20th just sent a shockwave through the entire community. It's a sudden, harsh reminder of how fragile even the brightest lights among us can be.
So, what was the immediate impact of this announcement? Well, it was profound. The reaction from the chess world wasn't just sadness, it was a stunning silence, a collective shock.
I mean, almost instantly, tributes started pouring in all over social media. Players who had faced him across the board, students who had learned from him, fans who had followed his entire career. Everyone was sharing their disbelief and their sorrow. It was a truly global moment of grief for a cherished member of their community. The family statement, which was shared by the center, really captured the immense personal loss behind the public figure. These simple, heartfelt words, they paint a picture of a man who wasn't just admired for his incredible talent, but was deeply, deeply loved for who he was.
To really understand the void that he leaves, we have to look back at his incredible journey. And it started early, with a young boy from California who found his voice in the language of chess.
For him, it was so much more than just a game. It was like an extension of his being. He had this rare combination of natural intuition, deep talent, and just an incredible discipline that set him apart from a very, very young age. Coaches and other players, they knew he wasn't just gifted, he was truly special. And his rise was nothing short of meteoric. I mean, think about this. At just 12 years old, he becomes a world youth champion. By 14, he's a published author. At 17, the U.S. junior champion. These weren't just wins. They were declarations of a brilliant mind at work, cementing his reputation as one of the country's absolute brightest talents. And his presence at the top was so consistent. That number you see there, 5, that's how many times he competed in the U.S. Chess Championship. For a player his age, that level of consistency is just extraordinary. This wasn't just about qualifying. It was about repeatedly proving he belonged among the absolute best in the nation. He wasn't just a rising star, he was a fixture. But here's the thing, his competitive record, that's really only half the story. To truly understand his impact, we have to look beyond the board, because at his core, he was an educator and a communicator.
He lived this fascinating dual life, you know? On one side, you have the formidable competitor, one of the world's top blitz players who absolutely thrived under pressure. And on the other, you have this celebrated author, a columnist, and a beloved streamer who dedicated himself to sharing his passion with anyone who wanted to learn.
Let's just pause on the age for a second. He published his first book, Mastering Positional Chess, when he was just 14. 14. It was praised for clarity and a depth that you'd expect from a seasoned master, not a teenager. He just had this unique ability to break down incredibly complex ideas into principles that felt intuitive. And through his writing, he basically demystified the game for so many people. His columns made the often intimidating world of chess feel accessible and, well, deeply human. He wasn't just writing about strategy, but about the intellectual and emotional journey of being a player. And he totally embraced modern platforms to connect with a whole new generation. His streams were more than just chess lessons. They were community, a space where this high-level intellect met genuine warmth. He was teaching life lessons, patience, resilience, humility, all through the lens of the Dame, making everyone feel like they were right there with him. All of this really speaks to the person he was, because beyond all the titles and the accolades, it was his character that left the deepest impression on everyone who knew him. When you hear his friends, his colleagues, and his students talk about him, these words just keep coming up. He was known for his patience, his deep empathy, and a humility that was just striking for someone so accomplished. Despite all the fame, he stayed grounded, gentle, and introspective. This quote right here, this really captures his greatest gift as a teacher. He didn't just explain moves on a board. He breathed life into the game. He made these complex ideas feel tangible, and he connected with his students on a really human level. And this role became this perfect marriage of his passion and his purpose. He wasn't just some visiting expert. He was a dedicated mentor, often staying late just to offer advice and listen to the dreams of the young players there.
So, what is the enduring legacy of Daniel Naroditsky? When we look at his life in its entirety, it's so clear he leaves behind an impact that's going to be felt for generations.
And this really gets to the core of it all. While he was, of course, a champion, his lasting impact is really defined by his generosity of spirit. His deep, profound desire to share his knowledge made him a central figure, maybe the central figure in modern chess education.
His passing leaves a difficult, painful emptiness. It's a loss not just of a brilliant mind, but of a kind soul who really represented the very best of the community. And it forces us to ask, what happens now? He occupied this unique space, this bridge between elite competition and accessible education.
And perhaps the best way to end is with his own words. For him, the 64 squares were never just a game. They were a reflection of everything it means to be human. A world full of beauty, pain, struggle, triumph, and profound lessons. A beautiful and ultimately meaningful journey.